Hello everyone, Satyajit Pattnaik here and welcome back to my channel. You watching the deep learning playlist and today's topic is rectifier function or otherwise called as the Relu function. Now, before talking about Relu function, I shall be talking about some of the issues which were being occurred in the previous activation functions. Now, why Relu function was basically introduced? So Relu function was basically introduced because of some problems which scientists observed while using sigmoid functions. Now again, in depth, we shall be covering that in some of our future videos where we'll talk about the vanishing gradient problem and exploding gradient problem. So these two major problems occur in deep learning neural networks. That was the main reason why Relu function was introduced way back in 2000s, I think. So why it was introduced, we'll keep that to a next session or a future session. Today's topic will stick to Relu function, understanding of Relu function. Okay, so as you can see in this particular image, this is how a Relu function looks like. Your a of x or your y is nothing but max of 0 to x. So you can see in the left axis, when your x is less than 0, the function is having a value of 0. That means the minimum value of a function is going to be 0. And when towards the right axis, towards the right side, so when x is increasing, then y is equals to x. So y equals to x. So this is how the function looks like. So for x less than 0, y equals to 0, where x greater than 0, y equals to x. That is the reason the function is y equals to max of 0 to x. Okay, y or activation function, whatever it is. So it is again nonlinear in nature because in this axis it is linear, in this axis it is not linear as well, but looking at the complete diagram, it's not linear in nature. Now linear, what is linear? Between two variables we can tell the variables are in linear in nature because if x increases, y increases, or else if x decreases, y decreases. These are the two properties of linearity, right? So this is, if you look at the entire graph, it's not the way the characteristics were defined for linear function, right? That is the reason Relu function is nonlinear in nature. Okay, so when x is less than 0, y equals to 0, and when x is greater than 0, y equals to x. So the range is always between 0 to infinity range. So nonlinear in nature, that means combinations of Relu function is going to be nonlinear in nature. So we can stack layers because of its nonlinear nature. Now imagine a very big neural network with lots of neurons. Using a sigmoid function or a tanh function will cause almost all neurons to activate in an analog way. That means almost all activations will be processed to describe the output of a network. In other words, activation are dense. This is very costly in nature. Ideally, we want few neurons in a network to activate and thereby making the activation sparse. Now Relu gives us that benefit, but it's not the perfect solution as well. But I would say it's better solution, or else as compared to other activation functions, Relu is the first choice of anybody who gets started with the deep learning part or the neural networks part. Now, because of the horizontal line in Relu for negative x, you can see this particular value. Because of the horizontal line, the gradient can go to 0. Here, if I calculate the gradient, which is nothing but delta y divided by delta x. So delta y is nothing but 0, right? That is the reason gradient is 0. And in the right side, gradient is almost equivalent to 1. Or else you can say it's not 0, right? In this particular graph, delta y and delta x are very similar in nature. So gradient is 1. But in the left side, the gradient is 0. So for activation in that region of Relu, gradient will be zero, because of which weights will not get adjusted during descent. Okay, that means neurons which goes into this state as in this state. So neurons which goes into this state will stop responding to variations in error or input. Simply because gradient is zero, that means nothing is changing. This particular problem where the neuron goes to a passive state is basically called as dying Relu problem. It's oftenly asked in interviews, not oftenly, but yeah, sometimes when as per the requirement, if the requirement is into the deep learning side, you could expect these kind of questions as well. What is the dial Relu problem? What is leaky Relu problem? Right. So So basically in that state where the neurons doesn't get activated, or else when x is less than 0, basically in that state your gradient becomes 0, and that's the reason it is called as the dying Relu problem. So it causes several neurons to die and not respond, making a substantial part of network passive. To get rid of this issue, instead of y equals to 0, when x less than 0, what we do is we define a very small value of y. Let's say y equals to 0.01x, where x is less than 0. So in that case, if I redraw the diagram, it will look like this. Okay, that means your gradient is nearly 0, but it's not 0, right? This is also called as the leaky Relu problem. Leaky Relu. You can consider it as leaky Relu. Okay. Now, leaky Relu is basically done to get rid of the dying Relu problem, where you have to define y variables, y equals to something, a very small number when x is less than 0, to make your gradient non-zero basically. And this function or this issue or this scenario is called as the leaky Relu. Now, the advantages of Relu is nothing but it's less computationally expensive than sigmoid and tanh function. Now, so far we learned about a lot of activation functions, and from an intuition I can tell you that Relu is the first choice when we start using neural networks. But does that mean Relu is the best out of the lot? Well, it's dicey to say, but when we start learning about the various neural networks, when we start building more deep learning networks, you will have more understanding on which function to use in which layers basically. Okay, so when you are using a binary classification problem, you can use sigmoid functions in your output layer and Relu functions in your hidden layer, or else you can use step function in your output layer and Relu functions in your hidden layer. But you can also use sigmoid functions or tanh functions in some of the hidden layers, not all. So all these answers, slowly and steadily we'll learn about all these things. Once we get into the practical part, on the ANN CNN part, you'll have more understanding on which functions to use in which scenarios. We'll also talk about some of the demerits or the cons of sigmoid functions in our future videos as well. So that's it from my side. That's all about the activation functions in brief. Next class, we'll talk about the ANN, and then we'll talk about CNN in depth. And there are a lot of topics to cover in this particular playlist. If you like the video, please like, share among your friends, and subscribe the channel. Uh, and that's it. Thank you guys. Keep supporting.